Hello and greetings. Thank you, the Almighty, for bringing us all here today. I want to say, hey, 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 in the words of the late great Fred Berry, to all my street dance family. You're going to be so excited. Today we have one of the OGs in the house from, way back when. This gentleman is so busy. You better get your pens and your papers ready. I'm telling you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have this man, I'm going to tell you this first. He is into music, gaming. He's a producer. He's an investor. He's a writer. He's a rapper. He's a businessman and entrepreneur. I want to say thank you and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, OG Arabian Prince. Give him a round of applause, everybody, wherever you are in your homes. And I just wanted to say thank you for joining us, Arabian, and
Oh,
thank you for your
why
time.
don't I see me? I see. I don't see me.
Here you are, somewhere in there.
No, I see. I don't see my video. I wonder what happened to my video since we were talking last.
Oh, you were looking. Okay, cool. No worries. We're live.
We're gonna fix that though, right? Yeah, we're gonna fix that
Ah,
right now.
there
I
we
think
go.
I. Let's see. Let me go back and look and see where my video went. Let me go back to my settings up here. See why it disappeared on us.
You disappeared.
All
There
right,
we
so
go.
we're back now. We have got the camera.
Yep.
We are
Oh,
live on YouTube, Flexi Studio YouTube page, Flexi Studio podcast, and Boogie. Just so that we can do a nice cut, a nice edit for the whatnot. How about if we just do the introduction one more time, and
okay.
uh, and then I'll cut that nice for the video later on. So we're gonna go one more time. Yeah, you ready? We
Okay, I'm
good?
ready. Hey, hey, hey. In the words of the late, great Fred Berry, hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. And thank you to the Almighty for bringing us all here today safely. I just want to say thank you so much to this guest that's getting ready to come on. Everybody grab your pens and papers because this man is so busy and he's done so much. This is an original OG, ladies and gentlemen, a GOAT. This man he's in the music business. He's a producer. He's an investor. He's a writer. He's a rapper. He's a businessman and an entrepreneur and a gaming tech. You name it. This man has done all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, OG Arabian Prince. Give him a
What's
round of applause.
cracking? It's your boy OG Arabian Prince, aka Fried Chicken Freddy in the building.
Shit. Okay, so you're eating straight up on the.
Hey,
Okay, you're
we gotta
eating.
make it funky, right? You said we gotta be funky, so we gonna make this funky.
Right,
So we
right.
gonna
Hey,
talk
so
on
this
it.
is brought to you by Rico Suave Coffee, ladies and gentlemen, and Little Flame Designs, Las Vegas, Nevada. So check those entities out when you can. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, homie. I just wanted to just say thank you for being here, and I want to jump right in on the questions. And I usually ask this of everybody, but when you were real, real little, like I'm talking toddler, man, what was the inspiration that you had at that age? Did you know that you were going to be in the music industry, and who were your influences back then? I mean, like uh, that, you know.
Well, this is crazy. So I always have to tell the quick, and I can do this pretty quickly. When I was
Right.
young, born and raised in Compton, very overprotective moms.
Mm.
My father was a writer. He wrote over 100 black exploitation kind of books, plus a bunch of other stuff. He was also the editor of Players magazine, which was the black adult magazine, editor and co-owner of the magazine when I was young. And they didn't want me to get in trouble in the hood, but my uncles and cousins were the hood. They were the ones out there doing all the dirt, fighting police, shooting, drugs, all of that stuff. And they didn't want me in the streets as well. So it was kind of like this family pressure to keep me out the streets. And me being the only child, they would surround me with stuff. Like my crazy uncles whether they were stealing or getting stuff, they would, here, play with this. Here's a CB
Right.
radio. Here's a ham radio. Here's electronics. And I was always playing with that as a kid. And when all my cousins got sent away to the military, they would come back with stereo systems and synthesizers and all kind of cool stuff. And I started messing with synths and, record players and vinyl and, started getting into DJing as a young kid and messing around with synthesizers. So that was kind of like my spark into it. And on top of that, my mother was a classical
Right.
pianist and a piano teacher. So I knew a
Oh
little
my
bit about music.
gosh, that's oh my goodness. So I mean, in Inception, when you were born into the music industry.
Oh, I got a
I mean,
photo. The first photo I got a photo of me as a baby with diapers, and I got my
ah,
hand on a little record player, and I'm just like, you know,
I
yeah,
wish we had a picture. But we'll catch it the next time.
yeah,
That's
for
so
sure.
sweet. So, okay, in music, who were your influences musically at a very young age?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, one of my favorite uncles, shout out to Hoggy, I call him Hoggy.
Okay.
He was the one that I kind of was influenced by. He would always, I would stay at his house on the weekends and just, go through his records and stuff like that. And the first, and this is what really screwed my mind up as a kid. I got a 8-track boombox, a little boombox, for Christmas. And for you youngsters out there, 8-track is this box and it's got tape on the inside of it, and you stick it in this thing and it makes music, right? And anyway, so I had one of those, and they bought me 2 8-tracks at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how I got the one, but my uncle thought I like it. It was the Gene Simmons from Kiss. They had they each had an album, like Gene, they all had their own face. It was 4,
Yeah.
albums. And I had the
What?
Gene Simmons album. So they gave me that. And then they gave me the Parliament Funk. It was they gave me a Funkadelic and a Parliament. And the Funkadelic one was like America Eats Its Young. I mean, it was like the crazy album cover with the baby eating,
Yeah.
bodies and stuff. And then the Parliament one was the Clones of Dr. Funkenstein.
Yeah.
So
That
those are
one.
the 2 things that, and between that and his Prince albums, Prince with the Afro Prince, my
Yeah.
brain was just like messed up and listening to all that kind of stuff, and the Last Poets. That's what kind of really made me want to kind of, explore music. But what
Right.
tipped me over, and my mother's passed on, so, God rest her soul,
Oh,
whatever. But
right.
he didn't know. My uncles took me to the P-Funk concert at the Forum, and I'm in
Oh,
there, as a little kid getting high because all of the contact smoke and stuff. And I remember seeing the landing of the mothership, and I
yeah.
saw that. I'm like,
Yep.
I want
Ah.
to do that. Like, I want to be there. I don't know how, but I want to be there. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was it.
That vibe is so strong, isn't it? And
Yes.
I'm proud of George and his accomplishments over the years. He's a very dear friend. Um, so yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, so I had a couple of other questions here. Let's see. Okay, and I'm going to mention this because a lot of people remember you from N.W.A. How briefly did you get into that? How did that start, and what's going on with that direction?
Yeah. So, I made my first record when I was, I think, 16, right? 16, 17 years old. I made a single, and that was back when we were all DJs on the West Coast in Compton. I was DJing, Dr. Dre was DJing, my boy Unknown DJ was DJing, DJ Yella,
Right.
Egyptian Lover. We had this thing called Uncle Jam's Army that I was kind of
Yeah.
associated with. Started
Yeah.
DJing with them a little bit, doing concerts and stuff. And
Right.
it was crazy that what made us all make that shift from being DJs on the West Coast into making records was it was Lonzo from the Wrecking Crew and Roger Clayton from Uncle Jam's Army started bringing in some of the early rap groups from the East Coast to
Right.
LA.
Uh-huh.
And we would DJ and they would perform. And, as we saw them perform, we were kind of like, that looks pretty damn easy. Like, I think we could do that, And I remember being at my boy Egyptian Lover's house one day, and they had just got a 808 drum machine, which is, there's a depiction of it like right there because I'm working on some stuff for Roland. And
Right.
they got a drum machine, and he was sitting there playing with it and like, man, this is the next thing right here. This is what they used on Planet Rock and a lot of
Right.
the early, stuff. And I remember going to an Uncle Jam's Army dance, and they would play it on stage, and people kept dancing. So that was
Oh,
kind of like the aha moment. It was like, wait a
hey.
minute, we're playing this drum machine by itself. It's not a record, and people were
Right.
still partying. And then they started throwing little chants on top of it and doing little things. Next thing I know, they were like, we're going in the studio to make a record. And then same thing with the Wrecking Crew, Dre and Yella and Lonzo and them. They were like, we going in the studio to make a record. And I'm like, I want to make a record. And I was down with everybody. So I was like down with this crew. I was down with everybody, but I was kind of by myself. So I
Yeah.
went in the studio myself and made a record. So made my
Wow.
first record
What?
in 16, 17, got it
Oh
on
my
the
God.
radio, started doing some stuff. And then, me and Dre started hanging tight and all of us touring together and stuff.
Yeah.
And one day Dre came to me and said, man, I met this dude named Eazy-E,
Wow.
who was the neighborhood pharmaceutical technician at the time,
Yeah.
making a little money on the side.
Yeah.
And we started hanging out with this cat. And next thing you know, we had started N.W.A and brought everybody in to do that. And it was an amazing journey while it lasted until,
Right.
this manager fella came in there and ruined it for everybody. But, that's what
Ah,
happens in the music business.
sure. 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 Awesome. Okay. And then I have a couple of other questions for you. There's an interesting article in regard to the recession. And during that time, you were very creative. Could you give us a little taste of what happened during the recession for you?
Yeah. So you mean during the recession or during COVID? Which one?
But I mean, excuse me, during COVID.
Okay. Yeah, I know like the recession. I remember what happened then too, but I can't talk about that one.
During COVID, yeah, where everybody was in the house, they couldn't go anywhere. It was just
Yeah.
like, man, you
Yeah.
didn't read
So
clothes. I didn't wear no high heel shoes. I mean, I was in, This
yeah.
is
So
yeah,
I was big into gaming, right? So I was like a pro gamer back in the day too, because when you're touring and doing music and stuff, you got a lot of time on your hand and you're playing video games and doing stuff. So I became a gamer. Used to play in
right.
tournaments and play against a lot of these big cats. And I got to the point to where I really wanted to get into gaming. So I used to actually make video games with Fox Interactive, of Vivendi Universal and Blizzard and that back in the day, and got into animation early on. But during COVID, I would be sitting in a house talking to all my partners and, different companies I was partnered with at the time. And some of my companies were like the big computer gaming companies, right? Like your iBuyPowers, EVGA, who makes all the components. And I remember them saying something to me, and he was like, man, it's hard for us because everybody's buying up computers now because no one can go to work. So
Wow.
we're 30,000 units back ordered, and we can't get parts to sell our 30,000 computers that were back ordered. But man, if somebody had a small company, they could probably do well. And I'm like, bing. So I
Uh-oh.
started a computer company, and
Wow.
it's called GOAT, just like my golf brand, GOAT Golf. But it's
Right.
GOAT for computer, standard for greatest gaming gear of all time. And I just started this brand, and everybody was on Twitch at the time, right? Everybody was on Twitch. And I would be on Twitch, doing my little streams, talking to people. And next thing I know, all the DJs that were trying to stream were struggling because most DJs, I'm a PC guy and I've always been a gamer, but most DJs are Mac guys. They use Macs on stage, but you really couldn't use a Mac to stream with because it's not really built for that. So you
Okay.
really need a gaming computer, a streaming computer to do that. So I started talking to my boys like Jazzy Jeff and Questlove and Z Trip and all these big name DJs. Next thing I know, they're buying computers from me. So
Yes.
all these big names that you see on Twitch now, especially the DJs, are using my computer to stream with, and it became a business. So now, I move a lot of computers that way. I build computers for, technology centers and schools, and we build a lot of that stuff around the country. So it's been a blessing. That was a big blessing for me to kind of take a passion of mine and turn it into a business.
That's fantastic. It must have felt wonderful. It must feel wonderful to
It
know the
does.
difference, in that direction. Okay, and let's see. There was something in regard to Dubai and the Gulf business. This part goes over my head. I have no idea what that stuff is. Like I tried to read it. I was like, you know what? Let me just ask him straight out, just like from a novice. Explain what that is that you did over there, and what does it entail?
Yeah. So a buddy of mine, Oscar, shout out to Oscar in the building. He's somewhere around. I think he's still in Dubai right now. Hit me up, and another buddy of mine that you saw in the picture up there, Mr.
Yeah.
Garibay, which is freaking musical genius. He produces Lady Gaga amongst other,
Oh my
stuff.
gosh.
And
Yeah.
they asked me and him to come over to Dubai. And I had been there before because I'd done some stuff in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and some stuff in Dubai. Early on, I had done something with another buddy named Scott Page, who's the horn player for Pink Floyd. And how that's kind of weird, like me, Arabian Prince from N.W.A. and the horn player from Pink Floyd. They had us over there for a big conference, and we did a mashup. So I DJ'd and he played his horn, and it kind of blew up and became this huge thing. So they wanted to bring me back again and bring somebody else. So me and Fernando Garibay went over there and did some stuff. And we partnered with a bunch of companies over there in Dubai, and we got a lot of interesting things cooking. I could just say, let's just say that got some interesting things cooking.
That's fantastic. So, okay, it was something to do with lasers.
That's part of it. I mean, there's so much so here's what's going on. So in Dubai and just in the Middle East in general, they're really trying to get to where they become like the new entertainment capital, right, of the world. Like they got the money to do it, and they're really trying to do it. So they're bringing us in to help them kind of be that new entertainment center of the world, both in technology and music and everything. So we're over there just kind of helping them expand, and become this place where people can go and be safe and actually really, really have a great time.
Wow. So you're one of the groundbreakers for this.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, that's fantastic, man.
Yeah. So that's how I can afford to eat all this fried chicken.
So how is it over there? I just want to know, you said safe. Is it very safe compared to America?
So it's crazy. Like us here in the United States, right? We see all this stuff on TV about other places in the world. And a lot of times here, you going to Saudi Arabia? Or you going to Dubai? Oh my God, that's got to be scary. So you got this in your mind. Now, don't get me wrong. When war is going on, it's scary everywhere, right? Especially in the Middle East. You don't want to be there during times of war. But during times of peace, they have one of the strictest law, I call it law buckets in the world, so there is no crime. If it is, you don't see it because bad stuff happens to you over there. Like, matter of fact, it's so strict that, you can't, especially in Dubai and Saudi, you can't like curse out loud. You can't curse at somebody. They'll put you in jail for that. Like I saw some on the news last year, some girl was over there and something happened in a car accident, blah, blah. She was yelling at the people at the rent-a-car place because they wouldn't give her deposit back, something. They put her in jail, right? And she sat in there for a while, for weeks, months, whatever. They don't play over there. And I remember when I first went, and we had a driver, and we go somewhere, and they took us to what I considered the hood, right? There's a place called a Gold Sook or something like that, where they had, it's like the swap meet that we have. You go to the swap meet downtown LA where it's all like kind of sketchy. It looked sketchy, but it was all gold and diamonds and jewelry. It's all those kind of places, really nice clothing. And you walk around, but it was kind of like in a hoodie place. So we pull up in this nice Suburban or SUV, and the dude who drives us, he gets out, windows down, leaves the keys in there. I'm like, hey, don't you want to lock that up? And he goes, don't nobody steal out here. Like that's what it is. You could walk around at 2:00 in the morning, ain't nothing gonna happen to you. So it's a different place to be if you're doing non-illegal things. If you're doing illegal stuff, don't go there because you ain't coming back.
What? I'd be kicked out. I have to have some duct tape to put over my mouth just in case.
Oh no, they don't play over there. Especially if you're a woman, they're just now letting women kind of express themselves more and dress differently and come out. You got to be real, like. I just smiled a lot. That's all I did was just.
Right? That's really bizarre. I know one time I went to Singapore, and it was so beautiful and clean. It's just clean. Sorry, my phone. It always does that crazy.
I got dizzy. Now to our sponsor. No. Yeah. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Hey, Flexystu here. What's happening, OG? We just experienced a little bit of technical difficulty. Our host Boogie, she just taking 5. But I wanted to say thank you for joining us. And please, if you don't mind, I want to introduce you to one of the Detroit OGs, Johnny Techno.
Hey, what's up, my sir? How's it going there? Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to meet you as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I noticed you were talking about that you were a gamer. I'm a gamer as well. Off
Still
subject.
am a gamer. Ain't never stopped.
I've traveled playing Street Fighter and Halo, and and
I
I
played
do
all of
computer
those.
gaming as well. So yeah.
One of my buddies is freaking oh my god, why my brain dead right now? One of my buddies was like the greatest gamer of all time, Fatality.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he was the
I've
one that
definitely
was
heard of
winning
him.
everything. You know, he was like the biggest there is until the newer guys like Ninja and those kind of cats. So
Yep, and what's the guy that wears the fox head? I forget his name.
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been taking over the fighting scene. Yeah, I still game. You know, I mean, that's my pastime. You know, they got to keep my head going. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure. It keeps you young, man. It definitely keeps you young. You all right over there, Boogie? Boogie over there.
Don't make me come check on you now. Don't play.
I need chicken.
I got. Hey, this. All I got to say is this podcast is sponsored by Crispity Crackety Crunchity Chicken.
Hey man, I'll see you over there chopping down on that chicken, man. You gonna make me go get some.
So here's the funny thing, though, where I gotta say this is not a commercial, but there's a place, and it's so funny. They start popping up everywhere, and I got the crispy. Look at it. See, there we go.
I know.
So there's a place,
awesome.
Hey, there's a place called Crispy Crunchy Chicken, and what it is, it's a kiosk. So the first time I saw it, I went to a gas station, right? And I'm like, y'all got fried chicken at the gas station? And
we have those here in Detroit.
See, they all over.
Yeah, we have those.
They're putting them everywhere.
Been there though, but is it?
Chicken is phenomenal too, man.
It's tasty and crispy
that's
and crunchy.
Good chicken they have.
Crackety, crunchy. And there's one around the corner from my house over here, and it's like crispy, crunchy chicken and Chinese food. It's a crazy thing.
Yeah. Everything all together. JT, you met Prince, JT, Johnny Techno.
Yes,
Detroit.
Absolutely.
Detroit's in the building. We were just out there last year for concerts.
Oh wow! What stadium were you in?
We did a smaller show. My girl group JJ Fad, who I produced and did the song Supersonic.
Yeah. Oh, I love them.
Oh yeah, lovely group.
You know where we were at? We were at Mike Epps Comedy Theater.
Oh yeah, that's not too far from me where I'm at now.
Okay, and I went because I hadn't been to Detroit in a while. Man, I got downtown and almost passed out. I was like, "What happened?" Like, it was nice. Like they got like Gucci stores coming in. Last time they didn't have that.
Yes. Downtown Detroit is the new suburb, man. I used to live right across the street from Little Caesar Stadium. I used to wake up like 4 a.m, just walk downtown. It'd be like 0 people down there, and I would just, be damn near in my pajamas, just walking around with nobody down there. And I walked back home. It's crazy. It's really come up. It's not the Detroit everybody was talking about. You go to Detroit, as soon as you step off the plane, you get robbed.
Nah,
Yeah, that's downtown Detroit. It really blossomed over the past few years that I was there. It went from like just quiet, now it's like bustling with nothing but tourists, and entertainment big time, especially with Little Caesars Arena. Let me see if I had one more question for you, and it had to do with the video gaming we discussed, right? Or no, we were talking about Dubai. So video gaming. You're into video gaming in the industry. Could you give us a little taste of what you're doing, what your hand is in that?
Yeah, so like I've been in the gaming space for almost 40 years because how I got in, I was a gamer when we were making records, when we were touring, especially as N.W.A. We couldn't go nowhere. Like we couldn't hang out because either the police was after us or the local gangs in the neighborhood was after us, thinking that we was like, all up in their hood. So we really couldn't go nowhere. So we would just sit in the room and play video games, or we would go find an arcade and just play video games. And when I saw this happening, this new trend in video game, I called it video game-ism back then, because dudes that used to drink and smoke and party was like, now, man, let's go to the arcade. It was like crack, the new crack. So
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I need to get into this early. So I kind of invested in it early on in the late 80s. And then when I was starting to do animation project with Fox, they had just started Fox Interactive, right? I was doing a bunch of stuff for Saban. I was doing like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Silver Surfer and Addams Family and Casper. And they would send me to Fox to have meetings about the Sunday morning cartoon stuff. And when I was there, they were like, yeah, we're building a division, interactive division for video games. I'm like, what? I want to do that. And I kind of weaseled my way into Fox early on and started making video games with them. And then Vivendi and kind of got in that way. But, you know, by making the games, I got, you know, put in contact with a lot of the gamers that were the pro gamers at the time, because we were putting on these early tournaments and I was good. So I started getting into tournaments, and that's how I kind of got into the game space. And now, you know, by making the gaming systems and the animation that we have coming out, we're actually about to do a new video game for Tech City, which we'll talk about later.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, great.
That
Absolutely.
there was going to
Man, congrats.
video game. Don't you do voiceovers for something?
Yeah, I've been doing voiceovers for, oh my God, 30 something years for video
Oh,
games,
really?
cartoons.
Sweet.
Yeah, I've been doing that since forever, because I've had a deep voice since I was 2 years old. So,
So who were some of your characters? I'm sorry.
oh my God, I've done some stuff for Warner Brothers back in the day. I did like they had some new versions of the what was it called? What was his name? He was like a stupid bear. I guess I'm a stupid bear, and all I want to do is be like my daddy and my mom.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
So I used to do that. I used to do some like my voice is kind of hoarse. I was yelling and screaming playing golf earlier, but I used to do this little character named Sniffles. I'm so beautiful, lovely, cuddly, and you're gonna love me.
So you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I got a lot of voices, man. So, you know, being the only child, man, locked in a room, you come up with stuff.
What? That's fantastic. I love that. You remember that stuff? A friend of mine used to do She-Ra cartoon. She was the female black chick. Her name is Cindy McGee. She used to do that on back in the day.
Yeah.
And
you know who else? If you ever get a chance, for anybody out there listening that watches this later, a homegirl of mine, I ain't spoken to her a while. I think I reached out to her not too long ago. But you remember Cree Summer from a different world?
Yep.
Light-skinned Cree Summer. She is the most prolific. Nobody
I've heard. Yep, I've heard of her.
IMDb. I'm talking like 500-600 cartoons. She was she was Strawberry Shortcake, My Little Pony. She was like the Care Bears, and she knew who she was. She was Penny on Inspector Gadget.
Yep, I heard she did voiceovers. I saw a video of her talking about that.
Yeah,
sure did. Yep.
Okay, no. Who is he? Professor X. I don't know much about him, but my little grandnephew, he knew it. He was like,
so Professor X. How that came about? There's actually two Professor X's. One is from the New York group X Clan, right? But I was Professor X before X Clan, and it just happened. You know, just like there's two Dr. Dre's. There's a Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Raps, and there's Dr. Dre, right? Whatever. But I was Professor X, and when I made my I think my second single under Arabian Prince back in the 80s, I was sitting at the house. I had just got this big ass keyboard called an Emulator 2. It was a sampler. Thing was huge, right? And I'm sitting at home chilling, and a cartoon came on TV. It was an X-Men cartoon, right? And I'm like watching a cartoon, and they're doing, you know, X-Men is this and that. And all of a sudden I heard Professor X, and I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. So I waited a whole week, right? Because they only come on once. They ain't had no like rewind back then on TV. Right. So I had to wait a week for Saturday morning cartoons to come on again and play the next X-Men episode. And I had all my equipment set up because I didn't have a VHS at the time. So I had to, like, if I'm gonna catch it, I need to catch it live. So I remember going to Radio Shack and getting that little adapter that you attach to your antenna and, you know, get the audio out. And I had to run it into my sampler. And as soon as the cartoon came on, I had to wait. And as soon as it got to around that part, then Professor X, and I sampled that shit. And then I was like, okay, I got it. I want to make a record. So I made this song called Professor X Saga, And I couldn't put it out under Arabian Prince because I already had a single out. So I came up with another alter ego called Professor X, put it out. My boy Unknown DJ and DJ Slip, we all became like the X-Men and started doing stuff. And my boy Unknown is from Detroit.
Man,
so,
we jammed to that song because I used to like how come on, Professor X.
Oh yeah.
That hookup right there.
Here's the funny part. So I'm in Europe with your boy Juan Atkins, right? I'm in Europe.
That's my guy. Yep.
And we out there, me, him in Egypt, and Juan is playing Professor X. And I'm standing next to him. He's like, man, this was the joint in Detroit. Like, we always wanted him to perform out here, but we could never find him. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, dude, I'm Professor X. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm Professor X. And he never knew that nobody knew I was Professor X because I didn't really tell nobody. I was just putting
it's news to me, definitely.
Yeah. And then I saw something like you guys used to have like your version of Soul Train. It was like a Detroit version of Soul Train.
Yep.
And it was like dancing to Professor X. I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
Man, every DJ plays that song when they have a set. Every time. That's one of the favorites here in Detroit.
Yeah.
I have it on my phone right now.
Wow, small world.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Man, I'm throwing it back, man. I'm finding out some stuff. Wow.
I love it.
Right? That's fantastic, man. Okay, so all right. This is a segue into something that I teach. You allowed me to teach this, and I mean I'm completely blown away. My socks are gone. Because you know what? It's called Tech City. And I just saw what I saw of it, and I'm like hungry for more. I mean, I'm serious. This thing is so tough. Give us a little idea of what that is about, honey. Because
Tech City is so Ice-T hits me up one day, right? Because me and Ice go, we go way, way back. And this is another gaming related thing. So when I was doing stuff with Fox, we had this game that we were putting out called Sanity at the time. And they were looking for somebody to be in the game Sanity. And I was like, well, I got the perfect person for, to do a crazy ass game called Sanity, Ice-T. So I brought Ice in, and Ice got to be on this video game. It was the first video game he was actually on. He's actually in Borderlands. People don't know that. He's in Borderlands too.
And Gears of War.
Yep, and Gears of War. Yeah. Yep. So he remembered me, we go back because of that. So he hits me up one day, says, man, you got to meet this cat, Tommy the animator. He's done some stuff for me. He's an animator. He lived in New York, and when he was young, he went to prison selling drugs and stuff. So he decided while he was in prison that he wasn't ever going to do that shit again. Like, I ain't going back to prison. So he taught himself how to animate. He was already a good artist, but he actually got into 3D animation and, visual effects stuff. And he started doing that and putting stuff out just online. And Ice found him through somebody, and he did 2 body count videos by himself, like fully animated. You got to check him out, man. Crazy body count videos for Ice-T. And then he was showing me some of the stuff that he did. And he said, man, he got this thing called Tech City. He got this other thing, called Keanu's Dream. He's got all these kind of concept animation that he's done. What can we do with them? So we all got together and kind of created Voltron and started this company to start putting this stuff out from Tommy. And since I'm an animator as well, we're going to get together and do it. And we created a trailer that was just like super duper fire. And we're actually shopping it right now. We were shopping it, then COVID hit and shut everything down. And then
I remember COVID all too well.
Yeah, and then right after COVID, we started to try shop it again. And what happened then, all the companies start firing people, like the Warner Brothers and the Netflix. They all back, they're all like, we still got to cut back. We don't know what's going on. So it took a while for everything to start rebounding. And now it's like the right time for us to go out and shop it again. And it's going to be amazing. We got, when I say like Cat Williams say, we got everything, and everybody in this show. Because it's, me, Ice, we got Busta Rhymes, we got Snoop Dogg, Mike Epps. We got, oh my God, the list goes on and on and on.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the concept is so fantastic. I'm hooked already. I'm like, I want more because I watched it.
We call it the Black Marvel Universe because there's so many spinoffs that are going to come from this show, Yeah.
Right on. Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
I love
we even got Tracy Morgan in there too. So
No,
that's gonna be crazy.
My
boy,
guy.
I
Oh yeah.
love that guy. That's a cat.
Absolutely.
Holy
Now,
so.
here's a question. As far as the animation that you used to do, or did you ever do any of the drawings, or you just with the tech aspect? Because I was
No,
an artist myself.
so I tell people this. It's the craziest thing. I can't draw a circle. Like,
That's very hard to do, by the way.
no, it is, because with the
Yeah,
shading and all
the
that,
perfect
you really
circle.
have to
Yeah.
have a mindset. I can draw. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can sketch, but I'm not an
Yeah.
artist per se that way. But I'm a
Mhm.
3D artist. You put me in a 3D space, I can build anything in 3D Studio Max. We used to use
Dang.
Softimage, Lightwave, all the different packages back in the day. I can build a whole world in 3D space. Like, there's a bunch of
Sweet.
scenes in the movie Contact. There's a bunch of scenes in the movie Contact that I actually did by myself in my
No.
house, for the
You
What?
be in contact with what's her
Jodie
name in it?
Foster. Yeah,
Yeah, that's my movie. Sweet.
yeah. I did a lot
Okay,
of the
so
visual
when
effects in
she
that movie.
arrives on the planet, that scene right there, when she arrived on the planet, how everything looked weird and she was touching the
Yeah.
air or
Yeah,
something. Whoa, 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 whoa.
yeah.
That's really
That's
cool.
I did
I mean,
crazy.
a lot of effects in that movie.
wow.
So I've been doing it for a while, and it was just a thing now that, when we're doing Tech City, now we've got this thing where we can build a black universe and kind of
Mm,
spin it off into all these
right.
different things, so it's gonna be
Sweet.
fun. It's gonna be
I
fun.
love
I'll have her send you the link so you can check it out.
that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I want to say just quickly that this is so inspirational for the younger generations coming up. Look how long it took you. Don't give up, because look how long it took you to get, from the inception of it up to now. And it actually happened. You even had like setbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's so inspirational. I mean, like, okay, so what would you say to the younger generation, Prince, about coming up? I mean, are there any good? I know you got good words because you're doing some great things in the community. So please give us an idea of what you would say to them to help them on their journey.
Yeah, well, I speak at a lot of schools, and the first thing I tell the kids is, don't let anybody tell you no when it comes to your creativity, right? Because no one knows what's in your mind. I have a love-hate relationship with Elon Musk because the fool done gone crazy with Trump right now doing all this crazy shit. So, but he's a genius, just like, all these people that are geniuses, they think
Mhm.
outside the box. So, don't stifle kids, or don't let anybody stifle your thought, because one of you guys is going to be that next person to create something amazing. And even when
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff like, you only see a small part of my studio here, but I'm
Mhm.
like Willy Wonka. I'm Willy Wonka and freaking SpongeBob mixed together, because I've got
Right.
lasers, 3D printers, just vinyl. I got anything you can think of to prototype, I've got in this space. And I'm just always working on something. And somebody's saying, man, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that. And all of a sudden the next day I'll be like, oh, you mean this right here?
Right, right,
Right.
right, right,
Oh,
right.
that thing that you said I couldn't make, there it is. So
Yeah.
I tell kids that same thing. I'm an ex-gangster rapper from Compton,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I've been doing technology for 40 years. And
Wow.
it's
Sweet.
changed my life. I'm a, semi-pro golfer. I'm doing all these things I never would have thought possible, but by getting into the right spaces, hanging out with the right people, changed my mentality on a lot of things, and actually gave me, I won't say money, I'll just say the resources to do the things that I want to do. So
Right.
never let anybody tell you no. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Anybody tells you, oh, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. You just need to do one thing at a time. No, screw that. I got about 15 baskets full of eggs, and I done
Amazing.
broke a bunch of them. But if you got 15 eggs in a basket and you drop it, some of them eggs are going to survive. If you got one egg and you drop it, you shit out of luck.
Absolutely.
So, I know egg prices is high, but I'm gonna
Man.
do. One of them things is gonna work, and then you
Yeah.
can go back and and rescue them other ones. You can go and get them other ones. Like, okay, now that I got the money from this, I can go back to the ones that didn't work and polish them up and bring them up as well. So yes, that's what you got to do. You got to keep moving.
Absolutely.
Be stagnant. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Because I always think about, the kids, and I remember coming up myself and how, the struggles I have. Just try to help other people, as they're coming up and maybe make it a little bit easier for them, Also, you just got through giving away a scholarship,
Yeah.
South Central.
He was from East LA, actually, a little kid from East LA. Just started going first semester at maybe a second semester now, whatever, second semester at USC. I mean, first in his family to go to college. And this kid catches 2 buses and a train from Bellflower, California, all the way to USC, 2 hours each way just to go to USC. So a tech partner of mine has a company, and he was like, look, I want to give some grants out. Do you have anybody? I reached out to another partner company of mine, 4C Labs, which is a kind of a entertainment / incubator for up and coming kids in the inner cities to let them express themselves and do things. And got together and found the right kid and gave him a little, scholarship stipend to kind of, getting through his journey. Yeah. And that's what we do.
Giving back, and then you're going to hit that.
Say that again.
So you're going to hit Compton right after that.
Yeah, we're actually in talks with the mayor of Compton right now to build a full-blown technology center in Compton.
Wow.
Sweet.
And,
what?
Absolutely.
It's needed. We got to put it there, and we're working on that as we speak.
Wow. If anybody's doing it, ladies and gentlemen, this man is. You know what? I'm so proud of you. I've seen you grow from, when we met, actually, I think that's why we met. You were at the Tower Records, I believe, Hollywood, California.
Maybe.
And, you were doing some business there probably because Julie, our friend, introduced us.
Yes.
And I've seen her in a gazillion years. Bless your heart. If you're seeing this, Julie, I miss you so much, girl. Get back. But yeah, she introduced us. But yeah, she used to be in there with the Simpsons and
I remember.
Yes.
Sweet.
She used to drive around that pink Volkswagen. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
She had, yes. Awesome. I'm so very, especially the children and the projects coming up for that. You are truly a hero. You're giving back. 100%, 200%.
I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I say it's what you're supposed to do. You want to bring up that next generation, and I have a joke, and it could be wrong me saying this, but there's 2 reasons I want to bring up that next generation. 1, so they don't rob me, and 2, so they can retire me. That's the 2 reasons. Don't rob me and retire
I like
me.
that. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they'll definitely remember you. Don't at least don't rob him. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy.
There you go.
So, absolutely. But
about maybe the future. Do you have any future things that are coming up? Other than the wonderful Tech City information. That's going to be me. I'm going to be hooked on that one particularly. But do you see anything or foresee anything in the future that you haven't done yet that you are maybe aspiring to do?
So my company is actually called Innovate Next, right? And that's how my brain works. Like I'm never really looking at what's going on now. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to make a better this or make that." I'm like, I don't want to make something that somebody's already made. I'm trying to figure out what's down the line. Like we had a big discussion in Las Vegas recently at a tech convention about if you really think about it, it's that there was an old Twilight Zone from years ago, 60s Twilight Zone, 50s, whenever the Twilight Zone was out. There was an episode where they landed a UFO. These aliens landed on this mountain over this little town. And they were like, watch. And all they did was turn off the power. And then they would turn the lights on in one house.
Yep.
And then, people started
I remember that one.
That's the dude. They start killing each other, right? Imagine if you took and just turned off the cell phone. Like if you just turned off everybody's cell towers where no one could use their phone, no one would use the internet. We would have a freaking riot beyond what people would kill themselves, right?
Yeah, it'd be almost back to sticks and stones.
There you go. my vision is always looking at what's next. Like we're and I almost can say 5 years from now, you won't be holding a cell phone in your hand anymore. Right.
I believe that.
You'll be wearing smart glasses. You'll be like wearing some buds, and you get a phone call, and you'll just hear it like, "Oh, so and so's calling you." It's doing it now, but you won't need your phone anymore because
you won't need it.
So small.
I love that. I need that. I need my phone gives me so many problems. You saw it like fell because you know what? I need something like that, hands free, to still do my thing and still communicate at the same time.
Yeah,
there you go.
You see how CDs are a thing of the past now. You know what I'm saying? You don't even use CDs.
No.
Yeah.
Records, no track tape.
It's crazy. Wow. And here's the crazy thing. You remember back when the plasma TVs came out? It was like you want a plasma TV, it was like $2,500,
$10,000. Yeah, exactly.
Man, you can buy a 75-inch TV for $299 right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cell phones on the TV sets. Right.
Man, if Elon Musk had anything to do with it, we're gonna be having teleporters in a minute.
Hey, I'm right there with it. You know. Yeah. But we gotta look at the future. You know, and that's what I want to tell these younger generations. Like, think of something that you mad about, that you need, that no one's doing. Like, if you really think about the geniuses and the guys who created Snapchat at the time, I wish I was a fly on the wall.
My goodness.
Meeting to get funded. Like, yeah, we got this app that you send a message and it disappears. You're like, what?
Right.
Why would anybody want that? I'll tell you why. Every teenager locked in his room that has no privacy from his parents wants this app.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some kid out there that's going through some struggle in life that's got some idea to stop that struggle. And that's the next $1 billion thing, you know. So that's why I'm always looking at, I say, if you want to make money, look at what the young generation is doing, right? Don't look at old folks. Look at the young generation. Look what their struggle is. Look at where they're gravitating to. Look at the fashion. Look at what they're looking at and listening to. That's where you want to put your money. That's why TikTok is so successful, because that's all these next generation kids are on. But there's new stuff popping up. So when you see that flow, you see the wave, you got to follow that wave and get there early. And that's where you make it money.
Right. Back in the day, when I first few times I went to Disneyland, what really inspired me as a child, what excited me was that in that haunted house, they had the people that were speaking on your way out. And it was like holographics, right? Yeah. So my little mind, I'm going, whoa, one day
hurry back. I was just there. I know that one. Yeah.
I stopped. I was like, you know what? One day they'll be sitting in our living room and Elvis can like sit there and like perform for me. You know what I'm saying? But now they're doing that type of thing. And I'm just amazed. Yeah. I had the inception, but I didn't, you know, I was younger. I didn't have to follow through, but now they're doing it. And it's so fantastic. I mean, it's just like incredible, the amount of things you can do with the human mind. You know, like you said, nobody knows what's going on in the person's mind. No. You know, the holographics, I really like that avenue. I love the way they're doing things and what they're doing with it. I mean, it's like, it's priceless. Yeah. All right. So is there any questions or anything last you want to sign off with here for our public watching, our hip hop community, our dancers, our DJs?
I'm just happy to be here. And it's so good to see you and meet Johnny T over there. And
it's nice to meet you, my brother.
Yeah. It's just, I always say this, we have to feed knowledge to everyone, you know, not just the younger generation, the old, because I always tell, when I go speak at schools, it's not the kids I'm really worried about. I want to talk to the teachers and the parents, because you have to educate them,
right?
To kind of like get them to understand this next generation, you know, like even a lot of my peers in the music industry, a lot of them hate on the new music, right? Oh, it's whack. They just mumbling. They just that. No, that's their music. That's their generation.
Right.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
You just vibe to it. When we were coming up, people were talking about N.W.A. was garbage and this and that. You could go back. They was talking. I remember, you know, looking at documentaries, you know, back in the 50s and the 60s. They was talking about like Chubby Checker music was the devil. Like that twist stuff is from the devil. It's demon music. Like
evil. Rock and roll.
Right. So every generation has their thing,
Yes.
and you ain't got to understand it. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Ride on your little cloud. Let them ride on their cloud, because there's gonna be another cloud coming to push that cloud out the way. So I just kind of ride clouds, and I ride with everybody, because if you want to be successful, you can't be a hater. You got to watch
Yeah.
and make moves, and do that. That's what life's all about. So,
I agree. Well said. Absolutely.
Good notes, because this gentleman is not slowing down. He's getting faster and he's going places.
as I'm getting older.
What'd you say?
Hey man, I'm probably right along with you, man.
You know they say when you get old, you got to drive faster, because you got to get there quick, because you don't know if you're gonna make it. I'm just saying.
Dude, I'm gonna have that, bro. Forget that.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, sir.
That's beautiful. So thank you
Wow.
so much for joining us. I mean, kids, you guys with the notes that were smart, you know what? Look up those things that he gave you. And you know what? Stay true to yourself and keep going. That's all I have to say to the younger generation. Please keep going. Never give up, and don't give up hope, because it will come to pass. You know, just keep your faith alive. You know, and I love you, Fritz. It's so good to see you. And
Nice to meet you, sir.
My man. Yes, sir.
Stu, wherever you are back there backstage eating your chicken. I want some chicken. How come I didn't
Save me a wing.
Like I said, this episode is sponsored by Crispity Crackety Crunchity Chicken.
Yes, I love it.
Crunchity.
Yeah.
What?
Right. Can I say one more thing? I got one more thing though. So
Yes, please.
I gotta go. I all day yesterday I was just having a fit, because right, you from LA, Boogie. You was out here. You remember Pioneer Chicken?
Yes, absolutely.
So there's 2 left in Southern California. Only 2, right?
What?
One in downtown LA, and one and somewhere else, right?
Wow.
And they both in kind of like hoodie areas. So I go get my chicken from time to time.
Right.
I think because of the bird flu and all this stuff happening with eggs, chicken prices are going up.
Yeah.
I go yesterday to get me what I do is I buy like a 15-piece of the chicken strips, and I freeze them, right? Because it's kind of far from my house. I put them in the freezer, put them in the air fryer. They taste, whatever. I tried to go get 15 strips yesterday. You know how much they was trying to charge me for 15 chicken strips? $48 for some chicken strips.
What?
$48 for some. And if I wanted 9 chicken strips was $30.
Hey, no way.
And
What?
you should have bought some chickens and had some eggs for that kind of money.
Wow,
I
that's
could have bought a chicken.
What? Crazy. Dang. Okay, so like in the movie, remember with Sylvester Stallone, Taco Bell was the new like big posh restaurant back then. But it makes sense, because those prices are getting more expensive than anything. The drive-through got to be ready, especially if you have a
chicken for $9.99 is gone.
Crazy.
Gone forever.
My goodness.
Forever.
Freezer prices are good.
I'm done. I'm done on my chicken rant. I'm done.
I love you. All right, guys. We're going to sign off. Thank you so very much for joining us again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys. Take care.
Okay, take care, my guy. Nice to meet you. Definitely.
Love you guys.